This is the last week of Aquarius season. This week might break some things or cause you to realize that some things are broken. Monday morning, don't try to wake up early. If you do wake up early, take a bath instead of a shower. Enjoy yourself before around 9 a.m. Pacific time. If you're on the East Coast in North America, you might have a little bit more time. After you have your relaxing morning, which you've probably already had, I hope you had that, you'll get ready for Mercury to square Uranus. Mercury is fresh off the Mercury Cazimi in Aquarius, so you likely there might have been epiphanies, there might have been sorting something out, figuring something out, whatever the Aquarius part of your chart signifies. And it's like the signature of this Cazimi is like Aquarius is the future. So there's something, whatever has been figured out is about the future. It has great implications for looking ahead in the long term. Like being up on a mountain, you can see the weather coming from 100 miles away. You know what's going to happen in 3 days. You know it's going to rain in 3 days. Everyone else in the village at the base of the mountain doesn't know that. Mercury-Uranus signatures for epiphany. You could also, something could occur to you that's unsettling, or you could receive unsettling news, or upsetting. Upsetting is a better term. Or surprising. The element of surprise on Monday and Tuesday. And there's something polarizing about this. Mercury in late Aquarius squaring Uranus in late Taurus. There's like the Mercury side of things contains contradictions inside itself, maybe insisting on choosing a side within. And everything that Mercury is about is really upsetting to the Taurus side of things to the extent that something will break. It's not going to bend. And alongside this, Mercury in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus on Monday afternoon, you also have the moon in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius. So that's even more polarization, more me against the world. Monday feels polarizing. If you can make it through the afternoon, then late afternoon, evening, the moon trines Venus. It's the moon in Leo trining Venus in detriment, in shadow, in Aries. So you're going to start, every time the moon hits Venus, you're going to get a taste of what the next 2 months are going to entail, particularly all of the first half of March, specifically March 1st. Venus stations retrograde in Aries. Venus makes her interior conjunction with the sun, which marks the halfway point of the retrograde period on the first day of spring. That'll be the roughest part. The next part is like coming out of it. The first day of spring through the full moon in Libra, April 12th. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Monday night seems particularly fun because you have the moon trining Venus, even though be skeptical of whatever happens. There's a lot of energy. The moon has a lot of energy, and it's gonna ping Uranus over the next couple days. So Monday night could have surprises, and it could have like a Rube Goldberg machine of whatever you're having fun with comes back to bite you later. Watch out for fun this late winter, early spring. Tuesday, you can get up early. Tuesday feels like an inspiring morning. And this is the day the sun is squaring Uranus. So the sun is in detriment in Aquarius. Mercury's aspect with Uranus on Monday. Mercury is much more, I know this is Aquarius and not, it's a Saturn ruled sign, it's not a Mars ruled sign, but I feel like Mercury in the third face of Aquarius is much more cutthroat, much more dangerous. You know, and again, it's not ruled by Mars, so this isn't quite, I could find, God willing, I'll find a better metaphor for this later. But Mercury in the last phase of Aquarius makes me think of like knowing enough about something to be dangerous. That's actually kind of like a Mercury and Aries thing too. Mercury in the last phase of Aquarius feels dangerous and extremely capable of doing its job. The sun so that was on Monday. It applies to the whole week. The sun in Aquarius isn't doing as well. It can't really be the sun in the way that it would like. It can't do sun things. I think we're very entangled, all entangled with each other as a living mass. And our little differences that we've been slowly and very skillfully entrained to think are deal breakers, our little differences between each other, could reach some sort of a tipping point early this week, especially because we have the full moon in Leo on Wednesday. The first part of this week feels very tense. So the sun squares Uranus on Tuesday, and Uranus is rebellion. And in Aquarius, there's this tension between belonging and rebellion. You might want to belong so much that you rebel to keep yourself from getting hurt. That's Tuesday. Tuesday night contains more of the same. The moon, our activator of the zodiac, squares Uranus from Leo. Moon in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. Leo and Taurus, especially the moon in Leo, squaring Uranus in Taurus. It's like how there's a time and a place for whatever. Moon in Leo being a ham. Taurus creates comfort. Uranus is there to shake things up. It could be like shaking the edge of a sketch, this thing you drew on with little knobs and then you shook it to erase it. So if you shook Tuesday to erase it, you've made it to Wednesday. Wednesday is technically the full moon in Leo. It goes exact early in the morning on Wednesday, however. So Tuesday, with this moon Uranus, like Uranus is the last aspect the waxing moon makes before it opposes the sun exactly, which is the full moon. So Tuesday, just during the day just contains the moon sextiling Jupiter early in the morning, and then sun squaring Uranus mid-morning, early afternoon, and all the rest of the night is just the moon applying to Uranus, the super full moon. So Tuesday night is one of those, like, if you're out in the world and you've seen a few too many wild, energetic displays, and you ask, because you don't watch videos like this, you just ask, like, it must be a full moon. That's Tuesday. The full moon in Leo contains this relationship with Uranus, maybe even getting in the way of the lunation, of the moon reflecting the weak light of the sun, making what's inside you a reality. Uranus might just bring some things inside you into being without you asking. And it might not be exactly, it's in the way of like what's in your subconscious is what becomes your world. The full moon contains these aspects with Uranus. And it also contains the Mercury Cazimi of this past Sunday. It feels very clear-headed, even possibly to the extent that you're uncomfortable being this clear-headed. Isn't there a meme, you start realizing some shit? This full moon, you realize some shit. And Wednesday, mid-morning, the moon opposes Mercury. Pluto in Aquarius opposing the moon earlier this week. The moon gets away with that either by not being aware of Pluto's opposition, it being like an undercurrent, something more subconscious, or like it could just be kind of thrilling. It gives a weird fuel, maybe, to a moon in Leo. However, so that was on Monday. Mercury opposing the moon in Leo, the way I see this right now, although Mercury is combust, it's almost kind of a mean teardown. Something in the comments that's like a little too accurate, or maybe if not accurate, it uses logic. It's something you can't argue with. So then you need to find all you have is what's within yourself. I need to acknowledge that this is me doing this. I'm assigning Mercury in Aquarius opposing the moon in Leo with disapproval or lack of approval. You're not going to get approval from Mercury in Aquarius, but you might. It could just be a good exchange, a good back and forth. So that's the theme of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, is all this full moon in Leo stuff. What's the Leo part of your chart? The dark moon in Leo was August 4th, and that was Mercury was stationing retrograde on that day. That was a weird day. So what since then has fully developed? Full moon in Leo is like the Polaroid is fully developed. How did it turn out? Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, all same theme. Leo, Aquarius, Uranus, big bangs. And then on Wednesday evening, around 5 p.m. if you're on the west coast of North America, the moon enters Virgo. So we get a totally different feeling. Wednesday night is peaceful. I think there's going to be a lot of integrating whatever's been happening for most of the week. And then Thursday is simple, especially the first part of Thursday. You just have the moon applying to Jupiter for most of the day. So Thursday seems good and simple. There's not that a lot has happened. So you get kind of a break on Thursday. If you need to catch your breath, know that you'll probably be able to do that on Thursday. The second part of Thursday is a little more complicated. The moon is applying to a sextile with Mars retrograde in Cancer. Mars is stationing direct in a little over a week. So we're learning what that means for each of us in regards to the energy that makes us want to do stuff, makes us want to make change, the energy that makes us want to roll up our sleeves and say, I'll deal with it. The tools that we've earned are, or like the tools to protect ourselves that are our birthright. What is your birthright? What basic human needs have you had to stand up for yourself or your family or people you love or beings in your charge? Thursday, the moon is applying to a sextile. It goes exact early Friday morning, a sextile with Mars retrograding Cancer. And this is the moon in Virgo. So a lot has happened with Mercury. So there's a calm, we can address this part of our lives much more calmly than we've been able to over the past few weeks. Calmly and practically, like maybe you know what to do about it and you can actually do something about it. And on Friday, you'll wake up to Mercury in Pisces, so things will be a little different. The way you receive messages are a little different. Maybe you wake up, maybe you have a really weird dream, unless you're on the East Coast. So Friday is welcome to Mercury in Pisces. Don't worry about being on time. Just know that you're not going to be on time. Mercury, but it's going to be fast. You're going to be rushing around, but you're never going to be on time. Mercury blows through Pisces. Mercury is only in Pisces for 2 weeks before it moves into the sign of Aries, where it will go retrograde. Friday is kind of a wild card. You have the moon in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces, which I keep saying is there. I think those two really help each other. They're like in the same exact situation in terms of being a planet that wants to try to do one thing in a sign that is doing something different. And they have things, it's like, oh, you need me to pass you a square of toilet paper under the door? Oh, you need, I think they each have things, the moon in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces, that the other doesn't have, or they can accomplish things that the other can't accomplish. And together, through little small things, they can really help each other. It's my favorite right now, Moon-Saturn opposition. And it'll be serious. So Friday's more serious, even though Mercury's in Pisces, like that's silly, ruled by Jupiter and Gemini. There will be like maybe a tension, especially on Friday, between like wanting to be silly and like not, and having like crickets or the audience doesn't get it. Or the moon also trines Uranus. We're coming close to the Saturn-Uranus sextile, a closing sextile. For perspective, the Saturn-Uranus square was 2021. It was a time of like really breaking things. This week is like a mini fractal reminder of it. But Saturn will be sextiling Uranus at the beginning of April. So you can start to feel the influence. Whatever Saturn signifies in your chart, what sort of responsibilities might be zapped into being that are good, that you can handle. So Friday, serious, but some kind of weird energy, possibly dazzling in a, there could be something fun. There could also just be something like some sort of surprise that with the inclusion of Saturn makes something uncomfortable. It's like we're in a different world. Like they just changed the scene, like they closed the curtain on Thursday night and changed the scene, and on Friday we're in a different scene, and it's a lot of the same characters like the moon and Uranus and Mercury. They're all wearing different outfits and they're somewhere else. So that was Friday. Actually Thursday might be kind of serious because the moon is making contact with Mars, and it's also after that going to make contact with Saturn. Also Friday night you might want to break from whatever happened earlier in the week. Friday night seems intoxicating. That's movie night. Have it, go to date night, movie night. Be with safe people. Don't do anything crazy. Don't allow yourself to get abducted by a cult and be hypnotically brainwashed into their religion. I'm thinking of the movie Mandy starring Nicolas Cage. That's not exactly what happens, but that's what I think about, like wandering off, being noticed by a diabolical cult leader, and then being kidnapped. The outcome of that movie is not necessarily promised by the planets on Friday. Just the like wandering around part, just watch. Sometimes wandering is good. Like it's a good night to dream. Can you have either go to a movie or have like a night in where you do whatever you want except scroll. Don't do that. Screen maxing. Friday night. Saturday is another change of scenery. I don't mind Saturday. It's mostly the moon in Libra. The moon moves into Libra. So you'll wake up with the moon in Libra on Saturday. And then it's the moon opposing Venus in Aries. So that's kind of complicated and more tastes of the next few weeks, but not bad. Still, Venus is about good things, even though Venus is becoming bad. I don't like this Venus. So the moon opposes Venus in detriment on Saturday, and then Saturday night the moon trines Jupiter in detriment. So it's like, well, Saturday we'll take what we can get. Sunday, just have something to do. Clean your house on Sunday morning. The moon in Libra is squaring Mars retrograde in Cancer. I wouldn't prescribe like vigorous activity because I don't want injuries, but some light cleaning, just like a big old to-do list of, you know what I think of? There's this cleaning influencer I used to watch. Her name was Mrs. Hinch. I don't know if she still does it, but she would like make a little list. This is more like Virgo stuff, but I'm going to use it. She would make this little list of like things to tidy around her house, and she'd call it hinching. And I think just make a big list, a hinge list. Have something to put your energy into. Otherwise, you're going to get in fights. You're going to get injured Sunday morning. But if you have some work, Mars is work. So give yourself some light work. You can't, this whole thing, you can't prevent what is promised. You can come at it from whatever angle you want, and that could imply a lot of different realities. But after around 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, the moon-Mars square has gone exact. So now the moon's just applying to a trine with the sun before it moves into Scorpio next Monday. So Sunday is like anticlimactic or very... First part of Sunday is very climactic. The second part of Sunday is boring. And you might need that, given how busy the first part of the week was. Next week, the sun moves into Pisces. And at the end of the week, Mars stations direct. Remember, your Wi-Fi is a camera that can see through walls.